Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Unveil Paranormal Podcast. Hope y'all are doing great. I'm going to apologize in advance before we get too far. Apparently, my camera keeps freezing tonight, so if it does, sorry. I'm still here as long as you can hear me.
Yep.
But
Her
I just
audio sounds good, but sometimes her camera freezes in funny faces. So
yes. And as a reminder, I do want to let you guys know that this will be the last show for a little while. We're taking a break as
sad
usual.
face.
We will let you know when we're going to return and how, because we're going to be making some changes because the system that we're using now is just the worst. So,
Yeah, not a fan of this streaming service, but thank you for the few months we've used you.
For sure. And we've had a really awesome season this whole spring into winter spring. We've had tons of guests, awesome guests. Screenshot opportunities. Sure, Jeremy, give me some bad screenshots. But today we have our final guest for the season, and he's a really, really cool dude. I'm getting to learn a lot about him in the last 20 minutes we've been chit chatting, so I'm really excited for him to get to share what he has going on and his stories. So
screenshot opportunity, Jeremy. Screenshot opportunity.
I must be frozen again. So without further ado, everybody, I want to welcome our guest for tonight, Asa Swift.
Welcome, Asa.
Good evening.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you here tonight and looking forward to getting you to get to share your stories with everybody.
I'll be glad to.
Awesome. So for those that do not know who you are, Asa, what could you tell our paranormal viewers who you are and how you got into the field?
Well, Asa Swift is my pen name. That's the name that I write my stories under. I write paranormal horror. That is my favorite form of horror. And the gaming community call it psychological horror. Versus monsters or slashers, things like that. Paranormal as in demonic or ghosts, unquiet spirits, or whatever what you want to fit into that category. That's what I enjoy writing about most, and that's the kind of gaming that I enjoy the most. I got into paranormal, gosh, as a kid, probably 60s, maybe 60s and 70s by watching Dark Shadows.
Oh,
the soap opera.
The old soap opera.
Yeah, Jonathan Frid, who played Barnabas Collins. That was my favorite character. And not long after that, I started reading Edgar Allan Poe. And I read some of his most famous stories. A lot of those that were made by Vincent Price into a movie. The Mask of the Red Death, Telltale Heart, Pit and the Pendulum, those stories like that. Those are the ones that I read of Poe's writings, and of course The Raven. Of course, at that time I was too young to understand The Raven. I figured it had something to do with a lost love, or they passed away, or something like that, and that's about all I knew about The Raven. But I'd say what solidified it, my interest in the paranormal, was I went to the movie. I'm originally from Hartford City, although I've lived most of my life in Indianapolis now. But Hartford City, Indiana, was my hometown, and they had at that time an operational movie house in that little burg. And I went to see the movie called The Legend of Hell House with Roddy McDowall. If you get a chance to see it, it is on DVD, but if you get a chance to see The Legend of Hell House with Roddy McDowall, I recommend that you see it because it still works today. The special effects, of course, weren't computer or anything, so they were the real thing. Whatever happened really happened. And it's very good. So I would still recommend that today. And that was 1972 when I believe when it was made. It starts out very sinister and ends very sinister. Kind of, is it really over kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that that part of it, because you really don't know. Is it the end, or
Right.
is there more? And I like it left like that. And so I've written a couple of my first two novels like that, leave them open ended, and if I change my mind and if I want to do something different later on and do an addition to it, well, I can.
Yeah.
So that solidified my interest in the paranormal, that movie, and from then on, I decided I loved scary movies.
Awesome. We do have a question. Our friend Jeremy York wanted to know: do you have a publisher or are you self-published?
Well, I've self-published the first two books. I do have a publisher now. It's an indie house publisher, and the first two books, the manuscripts, I revised and sent them to my publisher, who I've given not signed over yet, but I intend to the rights to publish those stories too.
Cool. Because I know
But they're
Jeremy.
available on Amazon.
Yeah, I know Jeremy's been writing books like crazy. So
That's probably why he's asking.
yep, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
So we can find your books on Amazon. You said.
Yes. Yeah. There's a couple of other. There's three other books put out by Editingle Indie House Publishing, and they're anthologies of horror stories, and with various authors. And I'm one of them. I wrote a short horror story in each of them, and I have them here. This is the first one, Under the Hollow Veil.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
And let me see. I'll throw that on the floor. This is another one. These are all available on Amazon if you're interested.
Yeah.
Curse of the Hallow Moon.
Curse of the Hallow Moon, yes.
And these are one you kind of co-wrote, you have stories.
I wrote a short horror story in them.
Like a collection by multiple authors.
Yeah, it's a collection of horror stories by multiple authors.
Very
and Whispers
cool.
of the Hollow Night. And then what did I do? Oh, this was my first novel that I wrote.
The Devil's Cabin.
Yeah. And that's also available on Amazon. The revised version is now available on Amazon.
Okay.
And this was the second novel.
In Dreams.
Very cool. I have a third that I signed over to my publisher.
Okay.
Called Sycamore House, and it's due out pretty soon. So just stay tuned to daysofswift.com, and it'll be up there when it's available.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome.
Now, are these stories, are they inspired by personal experiences you've had, or are they inspired by, I know you know a lot about haunted locations or anything like that. You get inspiration in those type of ways?
I get it from all over the place. I get it from dreams, movies, games, my own ideas. Sometimes I'll be doing something and not anything related to horror or anything, and something will just pop into my head, and I'll go, "Oh, damn, that is good. Let me write that down."
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: the first book that I wrote, The Devil's Cabin, that is some of the places that I talk about were from my childhood, and the people in them are based on real people.
Okay.
The names are changed, but
right.
but the whatever happened is purely fictional. I just took names from my childhood, friends, relatives, and gave characters those names.
Mm-hmm.
But the town is, for instance, the town in the Devil's Cabin is called Hartfield
Oh,
instead of
Oh,
Hartford City. Yeah,
yeah.
so
uh-huh.
Hartfield, Indiana. So things like that. But did any of those things actually happen? No. No,
Right.
thank God. Because that's pretty awful.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I know you have exposure to like horror movies and stuff, but you also mentioned in your bio about being a police officer, and I imagine you've come across a lot of very terrible things, I would assume. And have you found inspiration from your service of working as a police officer? Has that also inspired some of your writings?
Um, I really most most of my experiences are um, frustrating, maddening, and some of them are gory and
Yeah,
don't belong in a book.
Mm-hmm.
gotcha. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I've had a couple of paranormal experiences while I was still a police officer, uh,
Yeah.
while on duty, um, but nothing that I've written about so far, anyway, has
Yeah.
uh, has been born out of my law enforcement experience.
Okay. Okay. So, Um, but you mentioned you had some scary, and a lot of people don't think of like being in law enforcement having coming across paranormal while you're at it, but I could see it happening because of the locations you may end up at,
Yeah,
being not very populated and whatnot. So, can you share with us some of those paranormal experiences you had while on the force?
yeah. I've always said that that law enforcement and the paranormal go together because think about the places that we go to and the things that have happened there, not only in the past but maybe at the present time when you're taking the run. Uh, uh, I've been to suicides in old houses and found people hanging. Uh, I found people if they're decide to eat their gun,
Mm-hmm.
and what they had in their head is now in the back seat. Things
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, uh, not anything you want to dwell on. Uh, but what did that leave behind in
Mm-hmm.
those two homes that I just mentioned? One was outside in a car outside the house. The
yeah,
other one was inside the home. We walk in and there's music playing, and it's classic oldies, and some of it's sad,
yeah,
and it was just, you know, you've got a body hanging in the basement, and you hear this music playing, and you can't touch it, you can't turn it off because you can't touch anything, you can't move anything until the
Right, right.
investigation is done. Um, so I try to keep those memories away because they don't do any good to dwell on.
right,
And there's no point. Those were their choices, and they made them. But
right.
it's to say that when law enforcement officers go to these places and experience these things, they become part of the history of what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wonder uh, when you left that run and made your reports and went on to do another day of police work and years go by and stuff like that. Who's living there now? Is
Right.
anybody living there? And has
Right.
anything happened since then? Has anything gone on there? So, with crime can come horrific murders and all kinds of evil. And I don't know. I think maybe that leaves its trace upon houses and people,
Mm-hmm.
whether we put them there through our own thoughts or whatever. But I've I've seen things and experienced things myself personally, so I
Yeah.
can't deny it. I can't say, well, I don't really know. Yeah, I do know,
Mm-hmm.
and but so I haven't put anything in that's happened to me as far as those things go in any of my stories. and I probably won't. But the things that have happened to me, paranormal wise, in law enforcement, weren't scary. They were shocking, but not
Yeah.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can go to my YouTube channel, Ace of Swift's Haunted Places, and there's an old video that on there that I did, and it's titled "My Police uh, My Police Ghost Story," and
Okay.
it was when it was still IPD instead of IMPD, and we had our roll call was on West 9th Street between Meridian and Illinois. It was day shift. When I come in the morning at night. I drove through this alley and I noticed that the back of the church that's at St. Clair in Meridian, the
Okay.
back part of it,
Mm-hmm.
well, they were tearing it down at the time. Now it's like an apartment building or something.
Mm-hmm.
But they were they were gutting it. And you could see workman's lights hanging in there and everything, but the place was like gutted. And as I'm driving the alley west of Meridian towards 9th Street, I'm looking in there and I see all the lights hanging up and stuff, and I went, I wonder what's going on there and why they're tearing that just the back half down and not the whole church.
Yeah.
And didn't think anything more about it. And later on, as daybreak came, I had to stop back into the roll call to use the bathroom, and I parked my police car towards Illinois Street, which is one way north, across from the roll call. Went in, went to the bathroom, come back out, back my police car back into the alley, and as I'm doing that, I see this a very attractive blonde woman with shoulder length hair, straight shoulder length blonde hair,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a very light, super light pink dress on, like a spring dress or maybe
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
summer dress, and it was around her knees, and it was billowy. And she had a little bitty purse, and she had little white gloves on that went to her wrists. Now, back when I was a boy, that's how women dressed when they went to church. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times they wore hats too. The younger ones didn't so much wear hats, but the older ladies, 40s, 50s, they would wear hats and they wore gloves. In wintertime, um, they would wear gloves up to their, that went up their arm,
Mm-hmm.
and then the
Yeah.
summer and spring, it was back down to your wrist.
Right.
Warmer weather, um, and they had that little purse. That's what she had on, and she was walking north through the alley, right smack dab in the middle of it. Um,
Okay.
and I'm backing up my police car, and I saw her. I looked at her. We got met eyes in the rearview mirror, and as soon as I hit the brakes and turned my head around to say, don't worry, I noticed you, all right.
Yeah.
She was gone.
Oh
She
wow!
was gone, just like that.
So you
I
witnessed a full body apparition
Yeah,
in broad
she
daylight.
looked as real as anybody else.
Wow.
I assumed that she was real.
Yeah.
I stopped my car. I was still partially in the street. Jammed it in park and got out and looked around, thinking,
Yeah.
what the hell did I just see? What was it a billboard? Was it a sign? And I'm looking at the doors and the buildings in the alley. There's no way that she could have got in there within less than a second.
Right.
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 And she can't. And then I got to thinking, she was dressed like she was going to church.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dressed like she was going to church in the early 70s or late 60s,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
sometime in the 60s. And she was wearing those clothes. So the only thing I can think of, the only thing that came to mind was that she was somehow released from that church,
Yeah.
or
From
the
doing the
working on it, the
Mm-hmm.
working on it had some kind of effect. I don't know. I can't explain it. I couldn't
Yeah.
debunk it. I tried immediately to debunk it right there and there, and I
Wow.
couldn't. She looked as real as anybody else,
That's
and
that's neat that you
but
even made eye contact with her and That's
Yeah,
cool as heck.
Did you
yeah.
did you feel anything specifically about her, or just in the moment in time, or was it just
Well,
it was
I'm a
so
guy, and yeah,
sad?
I mean, I'm married. I'm not dead. You know, I know.
Like, oh, she's
Not yet,
very
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
I
I mean,
noticed.
like,
I noticed
spiritually speaking, did you
she
feel
was
anything?
very attractive.
You thought she was just another person.
Yeah, yeah. She was
Wow.
very attractive. She's a very attractive girl, and so no, I didn't miss you, honey. I can see you for sure. Well, she's right down the middle of the aisle, of the
Yeah.
alley.
Hmm.
I mean, she couldn't have been. Couldn't have been any more than 10 feet from the back of my trunk.
Oh wow. Yeah. So she.
I mean, I can describe her. I can describe what she's wearing, how long her hair was, the color of her hair, the color of her gloves, her
Yeah.
dress,
Yeah,
where she was standing.
that's enough. You saw it long enough, and it
Yeah,
registered deep enough that you can remember all those details.
uh,
That's
I
very
have no
impressive.
explanation for it. I tried to explain it right away. I mean, immediately. I got out of the
Hmm.
car. There's got to be an explanation. I saw a billboard. I saw, I saw a poster. There was nothing. There was no billboard. There was no poster. There was
Yeah.
nothing. There was no one.
I'm gonna go check out
Nothing and
the
no
alley
one.
now. I might have to make a road trip downtown.
No, that's the only thing I could do with piece it together was it had she was dressed like she was coming from church. They were
Hmm.
tearing that old back of that half the church down. That's still there at St. Clair Meridian.
My mom used to work
Uh,
literally right there at Meridian in St. Clair.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she would know. She would know the area then.
Hmm.
It's the alley right there, to the west from Meridian.
Hmm.
I mean, we
Yeah,
all. A lot of times when there's disturbance in the buildings, like construction or whatnot, it seems like the paranormal picks up typically.
Hmm.
Um. So it probably that makes the most sense for it to come from there for sure. I would think.
yeah. The only other one I had. Well, I did have another one that's not police related, but the only other law enforcement one I had is I was working the 500 parade. Don't know which year. Thank God I'm not doing that now. I do not want to stand out there on 16th or 30th Street all damn day.
Yeah. No.
I'm done with that. But one year I was downtown working the parade, the Indy 500 parade,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and I was at Michigan and Meridian, and right there is the War Memorial. And so I love being posted there because I have a bladder the size of a walnut, I think. So I can just trot right up those steps, say hi to the guys, go and use the bathroom, turn around, go right back out to my car. You
Hmm.
Yeah.
know, real quick. And I go in there, use the bathroom. I'm turn around, go to the sink, wash my hands. I notice that they put brand new modern knobs that looked old fashioned, but
Yeah.
they were modern. There you could tell they weren't the old
Hmm.
brass valve ones. They just looked like them. I thought,
Right.
wow, about time they put some new plumbing in here. And so I washed my hands, turned the knobs off, went over to the blow dryer. That's one of those jet kinds,
Hmm.
they're super loud, and I'm drying my hands, and all of a sudden I hear this shh along with the blow dryer.
Oh wow.
I'm going, what the hell is that? And
Yeah.
I turn around, and the faucets are back on.
Really.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I looked around, and there was nobody in there. I checked the stalls, everything.
Hmm.
There was nobody around,
They have to
nobody in the
And
stalls.
they were turn knobs, right? Not just like.
Yeah, yeah, they had handles like that. You turn it like that.
Huh.
And they were the cartridge kind. They have a little cartridge in there that seals off
Hmm.
O-rings and all that stuff.
Uh
Not
huh.
the old-fashioned washer and brass thing that screws down.
Right.
Um, that's what was there. Maybe they
Yeah.
should have kept them.
Yeah.
Um, but I turned around and I said, "Very funny, guys," and walked out and left. It had to be one of those soldiers. I mean, right next to the men's restroom in there, is the USS Indianapolis room, where they have radios and stuff from
Okay.
the USS Indianapolis. It's all about that ship. You know, the one that carried the atomic bomb parts for the bomb that dropped on Hiroshima.
Right.
Was sunk after they delivered it. And then not only that, you've got all those guns in there, and you've got cannons in there, you've got howitzers in there, you've got, I don't know if you know what they had a helicopter in there at time, but the World War II Jeep, you know, they just got tons and tons, Tommy guns, 45s, every kind of gun that I ever wanted and I have in my life is all there.
Right.
Yeah.
And oh, I guess I'm a gun fanatic too. Forgot to tell you about that.
Yeah.
But how many of those guns saved a one of our soldiers' lives? How many guns? How many lives did those guns take?
Right.
Whose lives? Are anything attached to any of those items?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a Russian rifle that were going real cheap years ago in my safe. It's made in 1928. Well, that I'm sure that served in World War II with the Soviet Union. How many people did it kill?
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's, you know, was that rifle used to kill people? I'm sure it was. It's a combat rifle.
Right.
What about all those other guns in there? Japanese machine guns, German guns in there. There's MG42s in there. How many people did those kill? Lots and lots and lots. We call it Hitler's buzzsaw. Fires so fast you can't hear the individual rounds going off. How many of those are there? Is anybody attached to them?
Yeah.
So
lots of energy, just residual, even if it's, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
More.
So I think it was. I want to believe, and I tend to believe that it was some soldier, sailor, whoever from whatever time.
Yeah.
Who thought that would be funny? Play a trick on a cop, you know.
Yep.
Well, the cop's coming in here to pee. Let's scare him, you know, or something. Or let's play a trick on him.
Let's see if he can pee his pants again.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I just said. Very funny, guys, and walked out.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But I couldn't debunk that either. I stood over there and looked at it running before I turned it off. Yeah, water's coming out. All right.
Right. Yeah.
It had to be pretty forceful if you could hear it over the hand dryers.
Yeah, it was. It was on full blast.
Crazy loud.
It was on full blast.
Wow.
Now the old plumbing, sometimes if the pressure was great enough and the valve was worn out enough, the pressure could sometimes push the valve up and let water run, but usually not full blast.
Right.
But these were modern faucets.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I couldn't explain that one either. So I just have to chalk it off to some ghost of somebody somewhere thought it would be funny to play a trick on me.
That's awesome. There is I've actually talked to a lot of people who've been in some type of law enforcement and got into the paranormal, whether it be they're still into law enforcement or they're
I know several too.
Retired. It's interesting to me how certain fields get into this more than others. Obviously, I think it is there's a huge investigation. I think investigating is a huge reason why. One, there is kind of that chase, but also, you know, it seems like people are more curious. People are more in. I'm not talking like the people that are on it for like the fame or whatever, but people who are really passionate about it, like really get into the investigating piece, have a background in investigating. It seems.
Well, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Of course.
What it really is I want to know as much as I can before it's my time. I want to know as much as I can.
Yep. Yeah. I'd like as many answers for that side as I can before I go to that side.
Because ain't none of us getting out of this alive.
Right.
Darn it.
No, we're not getting out of this alive. So we want as much information as we can before it's our time.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Um, I had I had another one involved my grandma. I'm able to tell it now without uh, without it bothering me too much.
Okay.
But it was sweet.
Yeah.
I was bumming around the house and doing this, doing that, and I'm really, thinking much of anything. And saw a picture of my deceased grandmother with with a friend of hers who was my stepdad's stepmother, and or foster mother. I don't know which he preferred to use, but they were good friends, and they were standing next to each other, and somebody took a picture of them. Well, years later, that picture was on my headboard, and as I was doing stuff in the bedroom, I don't know what hell, I don't know what I was doing, sweeping or something, maybe, or just straightening up. And I picked up the picture of my grandma standing with the other family member,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I kissed her. I kissed the picture, and I said, "I miss you, Grandma, and I love you." And I set it back down, and then I went on about my day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't think nothing more about it. Just completely out of sight, out of mind. I went and did other stuff. Who knows what? No one knows what I did, but maybe I reloaded some ammo. I don't know. But that's one of my hobbies. I reload my own ammo because I can't afford to shoot if I don't.
Right.
Um,
Bullets are crazy expensive.
I'm so cheap. I pour my own bullets. Yeah, I go out to the I go out to the city garage and use old wheel weights and melt them down and make bullets out of them. But I digress. Um, Later that night, I went to bed, and it was about 3:15 in the morning, and I was out. It was really unusual for me. I was out like a light, not dreaming, nothing. I was gone. And all of a sudden, I was woken up out of a sound sleep. I felt pressure on my lips, and it was warm, as if my
Oh,
wife had come over and kissed me kind of hard on my
yeah.
lips in the middle of the night. And I immediately opened my eyes, and I just saw a shape drifting out my door. And the craziest thing is, had I seen that any other time, I would
Yeah.
have absolutely lost my shit.
Right. Right.
Uh, but it was like for some reason to this day I can't explain why. For some reason, I knew exactly who it was and
Mm-hmm.
why at that instant. It was like something got in me, or
Mhm.
put that information in me, because like I said, if I'd have woke up sometime any other time and saw some shape drifting out my door,
You'd have been
I would have
grabbing your.
freaked out.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't bother me in the least. I knew exactly who it was right then and there,
Oh,
and I knew
that's
why.
awesome.
It was because I kissed her picture, and that's
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
how I got a kiss in the middle of the night that night. So
Yeah. It's confirmation, really,
Yeah.
yeah,
that
That's
yeah,
awesome.
she's still around, at least enough to know that, at
yeah.
least
Oh,
enough to know that
she adored us kids.
she's paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a terrific grandma. She adored us kids. We could do no wrong.
Oh, good.
So, but
That can be
yeah, that
dangerous sometimes.
yeah, you got that right. Because I could do a lot of wrong. I did a lot of wrong as a kid.
Right. That's awesome though that you had that experience. Like I love that for people, especially when it's somebody that you're very close to have
Yeah,
this experience. Now I know that personally now more than anything. That
that's
when
the
you
only thing like that that's happened to me with
yeah,
that was family related. And again, I, I can't explain it. It's never happened before. Never
right,
happened since.
right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's awesome. I love that for you.
I did have a friend of mine. He had a story that he told me, and it gave me chills.
Oh
Mhm.
really? For in the
It was
police
either I can't.
force
Yeah,
or
huh?
okay.
He was on Boy Sector at the time, East District now. He was on. It was either Michigan or New York, in Oriental.
Okay.
One of those two. I can't remember which one it was. And there was this 2-story home, very old. Well, you know that neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's
I'm an East Side boy, so yeah.
yeah. Oriental, Michigan, New York is pretty much all the same. The old, very old houses, and one of these 2-story houses was made into apartments, and that's not uncommon at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in order to do that, they would take and close off the front main door, and have because those are usually where the steps are at, and have the people who live downstairs go in a side door, and the people who lived upstairs would go up some steps outside and into the house. Well, that's how this was, except there was nobody upstairs living.
Okay. Living.
Yeah, living. They get a call on a report of somebody making horrible noises and banging around and slamming and everything else upstairs in this house.
Gosh, yeah.
And the family was all huddled together in the living room of this old house. And my friend and his partner take the run. They get there. They knock on the door. They invite him in. They tell him what's been going on, the noises and things they hear, and then telling the officers, "We're scared to death." And he said, "Well, couldn't somebody come in the big door, the front door right there?" They said, "No, that's locked off. That's not used anymore. That's locked off. Nobody uses that." And they said, that's what the scary part is. We heard that door open and slam, and somebody go up those steps, bump, 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 bump.
Yeah.
And the door hasn't been opened in years and years, and nobody went up the steps. So they go, "Okay, we'll check it out." And the family's terrified. So they go up the steps outside. They look in. They can't, because they can't get in upstairs. They look in. There's not a stick of furniture in the room, in the whole place, except for a piano bench, an old piano bench. The floors, it's wooden floors covered with dust, thick layer of dust. The windowsills too, everything. So nobody climbed in the windowsills, in the windows. On the floor are marks where the legs of the piano bench moved and disturbed the dust.
Oh.
With no footprints.
Oh. Interesting. Wow.
Just the piano bench moving.
Crazy.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he wrote a book too. I forget the name of it, but I bought a copy years ago. But I think he moved, and he's long retired. But yeah, that was the one ghost story that he told me about. And the officers had no explanation. I don't know what they told the residents downstairs. I mean, can you what do you tell them? Well, God, what do you tell these people? Yeah, you're right. It is haunted, or what do you say?
Yeah, you're gonna have this happen on a regular occasion. Just ignore it.
I would just I guess what I would have done would have said, "Here's what we did. Here's where we went. Here's what we found. You draw your own conclusion."
Right. Yeah, that's kind of like doing a private residence investigation. Like, do you really want to tell these people this house is haunted?
Yeah. So how many cops across the United States, just the United States alone, get those kind of calls, and that you never hear about?
Right. I'm sure it happens a lot where there's a disturbance, or there's a noise, or somebody sees like your instance, somebody say that they saw something, not just a woman walking down the alley, but they saw like a horrifying scene, and then the person just disappears.
Yeah.
By the time the cops get there.
And that's not all in this town. There's there's the situation on LaSalle Street back in was it 1988? A friend of mine, Bill Clark, was involved in. they had a boy from Haiti. I think it was Haiti or Jamaica. I don't know, one of those places. I thought it was Haiti. I could be wrong. Dominican Republic, who knows? But it was in the National Enquirer, and a friend of mine told me about it before I came on the department. I was a special deputy sheriff then, and he had come to visit from their family in this other country or whatever, and they were experiencing things were flying through the air by itself. Potted plant flew out the picture window, busted out the picture window. Other things moving and flying through the air by themselves, and all kinds of noises and stuff. They called our police department. They called the chaplains. The chaplain that went there, one of the chaplains went there. He's no longer with us, but he was like the head chaplain, Chaplain Bacon. And but it was all in the news here. It was in the National Enquirer, and they got rid of this kid and sent him back packing wherever he was from. Wow. Found out that he was a practitioner of Teddy, get away from there. No, stab it. Practitioner of I don't know, some type of black magic, black arts.
Really?
Don't know exactly what it was, whether it was voodoo or whatever. But it was something black, and so these people were Christian, and so the only thing that most people would come up with is that there was some type of battle between spiritual evil and spiritual good there. But the house is still there. I did a video on it too. You can find that on Ace of Swiss Haunted Places, the Devil on LaSalle Street. And there's plenty of information on that too. And then there's another one that happened on Delaware Street, about 2900 block of Delaware Street. And they call what did I call that? What did I call that video? The Beck Poltergeist. The Beck Poltergeist haunting, something like that. But you can find them on Ace of Swiss Haunted Places, both of them. The Devil on the South Street. There's a story by Patrick Piercy, who is IPD's department historian, and all the information's there presented. You can see and hear the whole story. The video quality is not that great, but nevertheless, the story's there. The other video about the Beck Poltergeist that happened in 1962 was also experienced by IPD, and that had to do with a couple of girls and their mother, and I think a grandmother too. The girls were going through puberty, and some say that this is, what developed into a poltergeist. I don't know. I don't know that enough. I don't know that.
Puberty causing poltergeist.
I don't. Yeah.
I've heard it's a theory, so.
Yeah. I don't think you need a poltergeist, necessarily for hell to break out. It's been my experience anyway. But yeah, I don't know that they were going through puberty, and the I don't know whether it was. Oh yeah, I do know. Let me see. Yes, Dr. Roll, famous parapsychologist, William Roll. This is an old book that I found on it.
Okay.
And this has other stories in it, but all it does have the Indianapolis Beck Poltergeist story in it, and that was their last name. Yeah. Okay. And that's why I bought that book. That's because I was doing research on the story for the video. But
very interesting.
And how many of those stories haven't been told? Mm-hmm. Because they're afraid they'll be laughed at. The officer comes in the roll call. Oh, seen any ghosts lately?
Right.
So they just keep their mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care. They can just. I'm gonna tell it like it is.
Right. Yeah. Right.
If you don't like it, if you want to act like a childhood, school bully, go right ahead. You'll just embarrass yourself. But I'm gonna tell you what's what.
That's crazy. Yeah, definitely check out Asa's YouTube channel. He has a second YouTube channel too. That one is your gaming channel, right?
Yeah, Dead Time Gaming. I'm Asa Swift, and this is Dead Time Gaming.
Nice.
You should get a job as a voiceover actor. I like it.
Well, I did think about being a DJ at one time, and when I
Yeah.
was a teenager, I spoke to Dave Dworkin of, I think it was, what was it? Was it WNAP
Oh,
possibly?
yep, probably.
Dave Dworkin back in the 70s, and I asked him about that, and he said, "Man, you better think about that. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble hanging around some of these rock stars and stuff. They're doing things. They're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, or doing
Right.
things that you'll end up regretting. And on top of that, you get fired and hired left and right, and you're
Mhm.
traveling from this station to that station because Rush Limbaugh, the famous conservative pundit, he
Uh-huh.
was fired 7 times. One time he was fired for using the word therefore too many times.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
That's
it pissed him off
wild.
that they said that to him. So he purposely said therefore one more time and they fired him.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean the guy what? He's multi-millionaire, lived in a palace and all that stuff, but yet he was fired 7 times. So I thought to myself, I don't really think I want to go through that. But,
Right.
my my specialty back then certainly wasn't political punditry.
Mhm.
As a teenager, as a 17-year-old,
Right.
Yeah.
my
Awesome.
So some of the games you play, you say you play horror based uh
yeah, most
games.
everything,
And
most
there
everything
is
is horror based, psychological horror.
Okay.
pre-recorded, right? You're recording and then you're sharing on YouTube. These aren't live.
No, no, I don't stream. I know about people that do that. I don't. Maybe someday I will, but
Yeah.
right now I've got enough on my hands uh, to worry about to add that to it right now.
Right, right. No, absolutely. I get that.
But yeah,
Um,
there are gamers that do stream
Oh
their
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, on Twitch and on YouTube
Uh huh.
Live. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, so what's your as a fellow gamer, what's your go-to? Do you game on PC or console?
PC.
PC?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I have a gaming PC.
Awesome. I have to ask every time we have because we get gamers sometimes on the show too that play horror
Yeah.
games usually. I'm a cozy gamer. I like to play cozy, laid back games, but I
I
definitely
well, one of the games that's not horror related, but God, I love talking about it, thinking about it. The game. Uh, this is a side of me I don't share very often. Um, the game What Remains of Edith Finch.
oh, I haven't
Uh,
played
you need to. If you haven't, you need to do that.
that.
Um,
Is it on Steam? Like
yeah.
what remains of
Uh,
Edith? Okay.
What Remains of Edith Finch. It
Okay.
He's writing that
is
down right now.
incredible. It,
Really?
it is incredible, and I have some tissues with you.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
I will.
I'm serious. I'm serious. You can
Yeah.
watch the videos of guy. I did do a video on that,
Did
but
you?
you can watch
Okay.
videos of other guys too. And so I would just say, guy or girl, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're playing that, you're by yourself, especially. Yeah, you probably should have some tissues nearby.
Oh.
Good to know.
It
Good to
was
know.
it was an incredible story. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. This is not a video game. This is a movie.
Mhm.
It's a
Oh.
novel movie, novel game.
Mhm.
It just blew me away. And they won huge awards on it.
Did they? That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, I would
I've
recommend
heard.
that to the audience
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a non-horror recommendation. Got to
Yes.
play What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah, I don't play horror games. I just enjoy watching some of the Twitch player people who stream like 7 Days to Die and
Yeah,
Days Gone and stuff like that. But I don't actually play them myself. But I enjoy actually watching the streamers. So I'm gonna have to check out your gaming.
You won't see my face because you can see my face on my other channel. But I just do commentary, kind of like Fooster. I don't know if you're familiar with Fooster. Yeah, same kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Asa, do you currently investigate in the paranormal, or have you recently?
I have in the past. I don't do it. I don't do it a lot. I'm not like Bradley is. He's far more advanced in that than me. I just he knows far more than I do. Yeah. But it does intrigue me, and yeah, I have done that. I used to use.
I met you at. Go ahead.
At the Monroe House.
At the Monroe House, yeah.
Yeah. I used to use some of those apps, but now I'm not too sure. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the phone is it's a computer, and it's running that program. But now, like say an EMF meter, that was designed for electricians. But and it just senses what's actually physically there as far as electromagnetic fields. It's not taking sides. So it's not saying, oh well, it's not believing or not believing. It's just an instrument, and and there's plenty of evidence to show that if there's something paranormal going on, if you had an EF meter, it would probably register. Not necessarily, not all the time, but a lot of the times.
I agree.
So, and there are paranormal investigators that's about all they use. Not a lot of them, but I have seen a few. So that kind of intrigues me, and also EVPs with the right recorder. If you've ever heard a Class A EVP and you know exactly where it came from and what recorded it, man, chills.
Yep.
And that's been going on since there's been reel-to-reel recorders. So there are old reel-to-reel recorders with EVPs on them.
I believe it. Yeah.
Heck, Tesla was even picking up stuff with his Tesla radio, so that's what got him.
Yeah, well, Edison.
Yeah,
Edison believed that it could be possible to make a machine of some type that could record these occurrences, whether it's voice or electronic disturbances. So Edison was a pretty smart guy.
That's awesome. Paracons or conventions in general, I know you've gone to many. That's where I've met you. Do you have any in the plans coming up that people may be able to come by and see you?
Yeah, I will be, barring any catastrophes. I will be at. I still got to send in my my check for that. Paracon in Peru this October.
Okay.
Cool.
And barring any catastrophes, I've already got a reserved space at the paranormal event at the Hannah House this August.
In August, yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So I will be there at both of those places. Those are the two I started out with, and those are the two that I'll probably remain with. I did do the Bell Mansion when they had that, but I guess now that's over with, from what I understand.
Yeah, they sold. They got new ownership there.
Yeah, that was a great place to do it.
I live down by Hannah House now, so I might have to stop by there in August when that event's going on.
Yeah, I love the Hannah House. Oh, speaking of which, a tree fell on it. One of those big trees in the yard fell on it, and messed up a corner of the gutter line, the roof line.
Oh no!
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I know we've been getting crazy storms.
Yeah, we had.
They said it was a huge tree
on Sunday, so
Yeah, they said it was a huge tree that fell over. I saw a picture of it, but you can't. The tree's so damn big, you can't really tell. Measure the size of it. But if you look up into the left corner of the house, you could tell something hit there, and it's messed up. So they're going to have to get some work done up there.
Huh.
Yeah, and that property is not. I mean, it didn't seem easy to get to investigate that property. I got lucky and got invited by the person who used to run the conventions at Hannah House. He invited me to come, so I actually got to investigate Hannah House, which was pretty cool. But it's not an easy one to get into anymore.
Yeah.
I've investigated it with Jason too.
Yeah, I would love to check that out too. But I'm not sure. I haven't heard any more about any more investigations going on there. Maybe there are. I don't know. But I haven't gotten any posts or anything, any social media about it.
Right. Okay, speaking of social media, where all can we follow you at so that we can see what you got going on or find your books? Where should we go?
Sure. You can find me at asaswift.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. What else? Not Twitter. X now. Also, I've got a Linktree account too. So if anything that I've not mentioned, it'll be on Linktree. Okay. You can look me up on Linktree. So some of those places I don't know. The social media places that I have, a couple of them just not really panning out. There's not a lot of people signing up to them.
Yeah.
I'm on Truth Social. I think that's it.
Okay.
I think those are the big ones that I follow right now.
Awesome. Well, be sure, guys, there are links in the description, so be sure to go there and find the links. If not, go to his website, which is in the description. I'm sure you can find where all Asa is at there. All right. Well, Asa, it's about that time. I do want to thank you again for joining us today.
Well, hey, you're welcome.
You have some wonderful stories to share. Definitely some interesting content in your books that it sounds like. I think a lot of people will be intrigued to read what you had.
Great, I hope so.
For sure. Bradley, that's our season.
Yeah, sad face.
So, guys, as we stated at the beginning of the show, this is our last show for a while. You will have to definitely continue to follow both of us to assure when we're going to come back. We have not made a decision yet. Life has been crazy for the both of us.
Well, listeners just need to be reminded that this is not the end.
Exactly. Right. We need to have him make us an intro and outro sometime.
We'll add your voice. It'd be beautiful.
Sure, I'd be glad to.
But yeah, guys, we do greatly appreciate y'all for joining us since February, since we came back. We are looking forward to returning. As always, follow us in the descriptions down below. Be sure to jump back and follow our guests that we've had over the series. We greatly appreciate you all.
Yep.
With that said, Asa, do you want to say that again for the end of our show?
Remember, death is not the end.
Bye, everyone.
See everybody.